Joining me now is Nassau County Legislator Josh Lafazan. Legislator, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me on as always.
I do want to talk about a press conference you held earlier this week, and this was in light of a recent incident. The Nassau County Republican Committee paid for ads that distorted an image of you in such a way that you described them as antisemitic. Can you describe what these ads looked like?
At 29 years old, I've ran for office since I'm 18 when I won my first election to the school board as a teenager. In that decade plus since, I faced anti-Semitism in my life, but I never faced anti-Semitism in a campaign until this one. The Republican Committee of Nassau and my opponents sent out an advertisement that is the stereotypical anti-Semitic trope. It's a picture of me with my nose enlarged, with my teeth elongated and yellowed, with fistfuls of cash, and with smoke in the plume in the shape of horns above my head. It's indefensible. And I held a press conference comparing this photo to a photo used during Nazi era. These were the type of photos that my grandfather, who's a refugee of the Holocaust, were subjected to dehumanize Jews, to make Jews less human. And it's completely indefensible for my religion or for anybody's religion to be brought into politics. I am outraged, as is the Jewish community.
Let's talk about that a little more. How have your constituents reacted? Because this is coming at a critical time. The country and the world has seen such a rise in anti-Semitism ever since Hamas's brutal attack on Israel on October 7th. Can you describe what your constituents are saying?
Absolutely. My office phone has been ringing off the hook, and it's Republicans and Democrats, right? These are people of good conscience who are outraged that in the wake of the Hamas terrorist attack on October 7th, where we've seen unprecedented levels of anti-Semitism, not seen in this century. We see a lynch mob in Russia storm an airport searching for Jewish passengers on a connecting flight. We see Cornell, my alma mater, death threats being made at the Jewish Life Center. We see synagogues in Europe being painted with swastikas, and Jews across the world have to have armed guards at their synagogues just to worship. And at this critical juncture of Jewish hatred and danger for the Jewish community, to continue to run this ad is not only callous, but it's so dangerous to the safety of the Jewish community. And I feel an obligation to speak up and say enough is enough.
You had a really unlikely defender come in your support on Twitter, and that is Congressman George Santos. You were running against him for his seat, and he responded to your tweet, and he wrote this: "Look, I am not one to defend Democrats, but the truth is that the Nassau GOP 100% knows he's Jewish. The whole island knows. These images are abhorrent propaganda like images used by the Nazis." What do you make of George Santos's response? Because you've been a vocal critic of him.
Sure. There's a meme that I like, and the meme is, it says, "The worst person you know just made a good point." And it's a funny meme because I thought about this when George Santos tweeted that. It does not change for 1 second my opinion that George Santos is the most reprehensible elected official in modern political history and needs to be removed. But I think it's indicative of folks across the aisle seeing right through the garbage and seeing that this is indefensible. Right, my opponent's hiding from the press, but the Republican committee decides to come out and say, "Oh, we're trying to make a representation about taxes and spending." Well, if you're doing that, then why is my nose enlarged and my teeth elongated and yellowed and the horns? It's completely indefensible, and quite frankly, it's an outrageous excuse that holds no merit. Because again, I was the youngest Jewish elected official at 18. Right, I've been in public office for a decade. It's a very well-known fact that my grandfather was a Holocaust refugee and my cousins are in the IDF. And so to hide behind a callous excuse is wrong. I am glad that I've had scores of other defenders who are not under federal indictment, like Mr. Santos. It was just a surprise to see on Twitter that I hope to quickly forget about.